Next, rebels. Rebels resist all expectations, inner expectations and outer expectations alike. They want to do what they want to do at all times. And they have trouble even imposing an expectation on themselves. They will not, for the most part, impose an expectation on themselves. Rebels wake up in the morning and they think, hey, what do I want to do today? They're completely motivated by present desire. They want to do what they want to do. And they are very likely to resist if someone else asks them or tells them to do something. In fact, they are very likely to want to do the opposite if someone asks them or tells them to do something. Now, this can be incredibly helpful. In certain situations, like you want to think outside the box, a rebel's going to think outside the box. You want somebody to break the rules, they love to break the rules. They love disruption, they love lawlessness. They're attracted to it, and they thrive in it. And they're also very authentic. You know, they're doing what they want to do. They're very much in touch with what they want. And that can be great. But you can also imagine that it's pretty frustrating to be with somebody who, if you ask or tell them to do something, is going to do exactly the opposite. And this can get to the point with some rebels where I say, oh my gosh, read this book, you're going to love it. You'd be like, I'm not going to read it. I hate it. That, you know, rebels will, have this spirit of resistance that can be can be difficult, and it can also almost allow them to be controlled because they have such a strong desire to do the opposite sometimes of what people tell them. Now, when it comes to making and breaking a habit, you know, you can imagine that this is a little bit of a challenge, because if you say something like, I really think, you know, the doctor says you really need to exercise, you're like, I'm not going to exercise. He's not the boss of me. You know, I mean, so how do you do it? So you've got to be very careful if you are a rebel, or if you're working with a rebel, to help them to make sure that you don't set off exactly the opposite of what you want. Somebody told me a funny story. So her father was a rebel, and they went to the doctor, and he was supposed to take blood pressure medication. So, you know, the doctor's explaining why, and they walk out, and her father said, so do you think I should take the blood pressure medication? And she said, no, I wouldn't bother. He's like, what? You want me to die? And then he took it. Now, some rebels are really able to use their rebel energy to create habits, but they have to do it in a rebel way. So for instance, I know a couple of rebels who managed to make themselves exercise regularly, which is kind of the opposite of what you would think a rebel would be able to do. So I said, how did you do it? How did you get yourself to do it? And both of them used very similar strategies, which was they focused on the present enjoyment. They didn't, like as an upholder, I would say, 3 days a week I'm going to run. You know, they don't do that. They say, I'm waking up today, and I feel like running, and I love running, and I love the feeling of the air rushing past my ears. True thing. That's one of the things he said. I'd never noticed the air rushing past my ears in all my life. It's my chance to listen to music. It's my chance to be free. Interesting, one rebel said, I'm free from having to pay for a gym. So she tied the idea of running to the idea of freedom. So that's the way as a rebel you can do these things, is by focusing on why you want to do it, why it's a choice that you're doing it, because they're so motivated by the idea of freedom and choice.